spring service. Eric and I were so thrilled to have our grandkids spend a few days with us from each of the grandkid families. It's just been wonderful. I haven't been able to piece, quilt, anything, where January and February were absolute nose to the grindstone, get it done. I'd like to share with you some of the photos in going through my phone is what sparked my let's do a vlog here. I have things to share and reveal that I had to keep on the down low because they were gifts for a wedding gift, for a bridal shower gift, for some dear friends, grandchildren, 2 girls. One asked for lavender and light blue, and one asked for teal and pink. So I hope I did it right. Those are on their way back from being long-armed by my dear friend Laura Lynn at Mom and Pop Quilt Shop. So I'm so excited to get those with their bindings on and get them sent out to their darling girls, Adeline and Evelyn. Alrighty, and then I've got the finishes on 2 pieces that one that had been up to date, the Meadow Miss Designs Magnificent Mystery, and I did finish that last month, and I also finished just about 3 weeks ago Jason Yenter Prism quilt. I believe it was through Keepsake Quilting. And last year here in the trailer, I had very carefully stowed away, apparently from myself, 7, 8, and 9. 6, 7, and 8. I couldn't find those block of the month packets. And when we moved out of our previous trailer, our dear Flo, and moved into here, guess what I found? Yes, I found those pieces. So I think I improv'd with boutiques that I had, or maybe I ordered them online. And I improv'd, did my own 6 based on what was in the picture, and I was thinking I was going to have to do 7 and 8 that way as well, but then I did find them, so I'm pretty excited to have that done. The border on it is just wonderful. And speaking of borders, the border that I bought with other fabrics that I bought in Koblenz, Germany at the shop in uptown there, Koblenz, that the tour guide told me about, this beautiful fabric shop owned by a mom and a daughter. It was wonderful, and I bought several tantalizingly wonderful fabric brands that we get here, but maybe they just tend to order a different array of choices, and I was really taken with them. So I'll share those with you, that border with you as well. I put a border on my Magnificent Mystery. So there. And then some sharing with the perfect weather we've had. Today I'm inside because it is so overcast and so cool. I think it's 65 degrees outside, where the Southern California area has been taking heat. And yesterday, I think double or triple digits. And then today for us down here, wow. And then I got to look at see what it's like at home, but it may not be overcast, but it's not the heat wave that we've been suffering. So there you go. Let me share with you what's up. So first, we got to spend a couple of nights hosting Everly, and her mom, our Katie, packed her a craft box. And so she colored, and what else did we do? Beaded, and we told stories and made little prop dolls. So here's Ev. there's lifeguard guy again. So next up is the Magnificent Mystery, and last July of 2025, it was revealed to us on the first Thursday what maybe fabrics we should be, not fabrics, but color choices maybe, what's going to be touching what, and so and how much you'll need. And so that's when we got serious. I have done that now, I think, 3 times, three Meadow Mist designs with Lois, and it's been very fun to see the differences in what turns out with each of us. So here are my choices. These videos or pictures, photos were from last, I think we get the cutting instructions in August or September. So that's when those are from. And then I've got photos of the first September and October construction. And there we go. When I started to put the idea of using the border, the floral jar border, maybe folks weren't too sure that it was going to be a real nice, attachment to the edge of my quilt. But I thought if there was ever a quilt that I have pieced that this border could be used really, really appropriately, nicely, this was the one. So I had already cut it out, frankly, when, some folks maybe said, maybe not. No, it's going on there. So here you go.
From Das to Quilting in Koblenz, from the Mother-Daughter Fabric Store, with plenty of quilter fruit and this wonderful border.
This is probably one of my oldest pieces that I've had finished and never did anything with. This is an A that I stitched, I think, in 1978. When, after I had been a foreign exchange student, I stitched this up from a pattern that I bought in the Netherlands. I whipped up this pillow and I gifted it to my granddaughter Ada, whose birthday was in September. And another photo I found in my phone of my Amanda Rolfe block number 2 of houses. She has posted 3 and we're waiting for her to get back into it again. She asked for a little respite, so no problem. But this was my block 2, 3 beach houses. Then next up is the Botanica Park, another block of the month that I had sitting around needing to finish. And I decided, okay, come on. So many of these block of the month envelopes had completed portions in them. I think I needed to do 2 of them. So here it is, all put together on my living room floor. and I can't wait to get it quilted. Oh my goodness, isn't that a beauty? It's a big one too. As you can see, it goes from couch to a china cabinet. I got it packed up and wrapped up for one of my husband's dear friends' wives who has been dealing with breast cancer. And here they sent me a photo of it adorned on their bed. I was so excited to get this photo. Look at how pretty. Navy blue pillowcases. This is in my loot. I couldn't share it with you. I put this together. Laura Lynn did this pattern. I think it's called Bricks or Stepping Stones. This is for our granddaughter Joan. And I quilted on the back with good old polka dot, or not polka dot, the Bubble Little Minky from Be Still My Heart, Joanne's. And I finished this last year at the campsite, I believe in July, my little strawberry mini. I was also working on some quilt donations. I think I did 2 for Lois. This was in my photos back in last year, at the end of last year's camp posting experience that Eric and I had. And then let's see, here is the quilt that I gifted to Joan and Matt, our fellow camp hosts, and I finished that up here and quilted it on site. Machine quilted it. Here it is on their bed at home. Here's the Thomas the Train Engine potato chip block that I used to create a quilt for my son's ask of making 2 quilts for his dear friend's kids. So I did that and I did that for the little girl. Oh, not to be spoken of, Dog's Declaration, and I did this one up for Everly's birthday. And these photos were from last year's schoolgirl project. We did book bags, and I used that same pattern of 9 blocks on each side with leather handles. They all finished, and we did start, Laura Lynn, Lois, and Tracy. They started those bags with me. I used that inspiration to create bags for our granddaughters, and I embroidered their initials in the center. This was a basket quilt that I finished up. It had been hiding just not completed in a box in the storage area, and I thought, oop, that's what I'm going to do for our niece. She's expecting, and this was last year. And so I worked this up on the camp mat, laid it out after I swept it really carefully, and I realized I could use one more to pair or to trio with those 2 blues. And I got that taken care of, found a basket design that worked, and I put those together as 4 rows of 3. I thought it worked out kind of nicely. This is from last year's Road to California. It is just a fun paper pieced block, and I've got a few more done last summer, and I hope to get back to it. It's in that same project box in my stash room. This is the lavender and blue quilt that I put together for our friend's granddaughter. And for that granddaughter's sister, this heart quilt. She asked for teal and pink. This is what I came up with. This couple pillowcases that I needed to create for the funky pillows I bought at Christmas. And here's the big piece that I wanted to share that I couldn't speak of and was just killing myself during December and January to get completed. I didn't want to spend any time doing anything else but get this wedding ring quilt completed. And it's a fast wedding ring quilt. You use 25 18-inch squares and lay it out. The pattern gives you a trapezoidal shape template for cutting out pieces and then putting them together so that the narrow side, it creates an arc, and you sew that arc to what's in the pattern package are these interfacing style pieces that have the pattern for the wedding ring on printed onto the interfacing, and it is an iron-on. So you put right sides together with the iron-on fusing towards the right side, and then turn those out and trim off the edges. You want to trim the selvages off right to the, quick. Not maybe 1/4 inch, but not quite a whole 1/2 inch, but I got them down there. So they were nice and clean. You turn them right side out and then decide where you want to lay them out and the color configuration. You want to keep your ring straight. So see the green one, that's the lower center, and then the pink ones and the Picasso yellow, purple, pink, and blue. You wanted to keep those straight. And then they gave you the instructions for how to overlap the corners.
And the pattern also showed you how to be careful and consistent in the laying out of the points in the overlapping, which went over the other correctly.
Once decisions are made, you go ahead then and iron it down. And then comes the lightweight thread, and you do a little applique stitch on both sides, the edges, to make sure it's seated forever.
I got the Stitchy Tent mat carefully swept up and then laid out my backing proper side down. And here is my batting ready to be smoothed over it.
So here she is, ready to go. Let's lay out a couple of picnic tables and get my big machine and get her quilted up. This photo is so great. It shows the lovely intensity of those rings overlapping. Here's Miss Big Machine. I'll get the hoop out. My backing is something that I picked up from Soya several years ago. It's flower arrangements on a gray background with beautiful pedestals. Here's my embroidery hoop, and you can bet with the size of this quilt, I switched up that hoop over and over again about 59 times. This is a project, a cross stitch that I had put away because I felt like working on it, I was giving some kind of unlucky mojo to the kids. And so I whipped it out and got it into shape. And here I am. Let's go quilt. Quilting in the rain I am. Heart and nose to the grindstone, and guess what this girl did? I got this quick wedding ring quilt by Quilt Smart completed. Here's the backing. I felt it was a perfect match for this quilt. And here are my borders and my binding. You can't not love a stripe binding. Here at the shower is the memory box that I created for Brittany. Having unwrapped it, here's Brittany and her mom, Donna, holding it up. I felt so honored and blessed to be able to create such a beautiful quilt. On to the next
photos in my phone. Here's Heather, who I gifted one of my really old 2020 quilts, the one I did with Becca, where we chose blocks out of a block book and block of the month, put those then together, and I got it quilted by Laura Lynn kind of recently, and Heather just loved it. What made me think of giving her this one is she had originally asked me to make a quilt using her mom's clothes, and I don't know if she didn't trust me that much, but she had been through some health issues, and I wanted to give that to her. Heather and her husband Earl are fellow camp hosts, and they were headed out to their next stop.
Too.
Yeah.
She likes them all.
Okay.
I am.
I'm glad.
That's so sweet. I didn't know you were going to bring me a quilt.
Well, she had been at the bottom of a pile.
There's a tag.
And on about a year and maybe a few months ago, I sent her off to my friend and she took care of business.
Oh, I love that.
On to now the Jason Yenter Prism quilt photos I have in my phone. I got back to this and was so pleased I did, because when I got those 3 blocks completed and the lineup sewn together, I was so happy. Love that border. Here in our kids' old bedroom, I have my stash of my favorite quilts. You've got this quilt that I might give to my niece and her beloved coming up in May. I've got my grandma's quilt squares there. Let's see, here's the quilt rack, double quilt rack that my son-in-law made for me. Here are all my sweet treats that I just can't let sit in the bottom of a closet because they're very meaningful. That trip around the world is from my grandmother, and I finished it all by hand, binding included and the quilting. And I'm gonna share my Needlework Marketplace orders. I got Strawberry Sampler by Botanica. I got Sweetheart by Hello by Liz Matthews, and Stitcher's Rules by Pansy Patch Quilts and Stitch. Little story behind this wedding ring pillow that I created, as you can see, back in 1983. I have been asked by my kids to use it in 2 different weddings. Here it was at the rehearsal for Zach's wedding just in February, our grandson Eli carrying. The official Something Old. And Eric came up with a really awesome idea for me to stitch their dates in the back of the pillow. So that's what I'm going to do.
Anyway, so Eric Johnson, how's your spring break been with your grandkids?
Absolutely fantastic. Wore me out. We got that beautiful photograph of them going home. Not saying that it's not good of them going home, but they're completely zonked out, crashed out in the back of the car, drooling all over themselves. So Grandma and Grandpa did their job.
What'd you say last night? Tell them.
What's that?
Mission Impossible.
Oh, Mission Impossible. Well, the mission was completed.
Wore them out. Yep. So
beautiful time.
So what all did we do with them? We took them to the beach for hours every day.
Yeah, they're at least 4 to 5 hours every day. You took them to the park for a couple hours and to the beach and walked around the campground and over to the little restaurant across the street and over to Duhinu, where we had a birthday party for a new member of the family, Nicole and Michael Yatesa. And just had a great time with family and friends over there. Just beautiful time.
And we're also wondering if the twins did a good sleep through the night.
Yeah, if the twins slept through the night, that'd be a blessing.
Boy, were they worn out yesterday. Anyway, So good times had by Grandma and Grandpa and by grandkids, right?
Yep, absolutely.
All right. Thank you very much.
Bye.
That's all for now.
Thank you so much for being here and paying a visit. It was nice to have you. And here's a little bit more back at the beach.